He's not president of the United States anymore, and I can't stand that. I really am disappointed, but we're going to be okay. We're going to thank this president. Wow, what a sacrifice that he made, his family made, the amazing things that he accomplished, and he'll be back. But today we did hear from him for the last time as president.
A goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. So have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a good life. All right. Now, he said back in some form. I think the president is going to watch and listen. He said he's going to do that, and he's going to evaluate his future, the country's future, perhaps. I know, but it was sad seeing him leave the White House for the last time on Marine One, on Air Force One. But folks, now it falls to us, and he's been very inspirational. We now have to fight cancel culture, each and every one of us. We, each and every one of us, have to stand up for our constitutional rights. How do you feel about Joe Biden? He is the president of the United States. It's okay, ladies and gentlemen, to say you do not wish the president success. It is. Now, I wish him no harm, of course, and I want him to be happy and healthy in his life, but I wish Joe Biden no success. I don't want him to re-enter the Paris Climate Accord. It's okay to say that. I don't want him stacking the Supreme Court as he pretty much said he would during the campaign. I don't want him to succeed at that. I don't want him re-entering any nuclear deal that was so flawed with the Iranians. I don't want to see that. So it's actually okay to say you don't want to see Joe Biden succeed. Remember, he is the head of the executive branch, okay? And we've got three branches. They are all co-equal. Fair enough? Fair enough. Joe Biden jumped the gun a little bit today. He got sworn in at 10 minutes to noon. I don't mean to nitpick, but does say noon according to the law. But anyway, here's a bit from today.
A cry for survival comes from the planet itself. A cry that can't be any more desperate or any more clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat.
I hate white supremacy. I hate domestic terrorism, but we've got bigger problems than that. All summer long, this country was on fire. But Joe, for his liberal base, focused on what happened 2 weeks ago. And they're going to, it looks like, exploit that. This is my neighborhood over the summertime. You see this nonsense? It was happening in cities all across the nation. And Joe Biden, at the age of, what is he, 78, is suddenly, after 50 years in Washington, D.C., going to tackle issues of institutional racism and white supremacy. Joe Biden, a man who never sees race.
The first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Joe Biden in his late 60s marveling that there could be a bright, articulate, and clean African-American male. Something tells me that Joe Biden, in his heart of hearts, is not exactly woke. All right? Joe Biden's been around for a long time. He's done a lot of business with all kinds of people in Washington, D.C. There was this from today's inaugural address as well.
And so today, at this time, in this place, let's start afresh, all of us. Let's begin to listen to one another again, hear one another, see one another, show respect to one another. Politics doesn't have to be a raging fire, destroying everything in its path. Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war. And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured.
Joe wants a kinder, gentler America now that he's in office, now that the president has been impeached, now that he said all kinds of crazy things while he was campaigning. Pretty angry Joe could be.
You ever been to a caucus?
No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but you're
Why would you answer that
because
question?
the question
you want to put a lot of new Supreme Court justices, radical left.
Will you
Who
shut
is
up,
your,
man?
Listen,
Why wasn't his apology enough, Mr. Vice President? Why attack Sanders? Wait. Take your AR-14s away.
Okay, this is not okay. Hold on. All right. Hey, let's
Don't tell me this, pal. I'm gonna go
There's a
outside.
lot of guys.
Okay, am I being hard on Joe Biden his very first day in office? Maybe a little bit, because I was looking for two things today. Number one, to call off the impeachment against Donald Trump. That would have been great. He talks about unity. That really would have given me, hey, I would have said, give Joe Biden a chance. Wow, what a great thing to do. And also, get a hold of big tech. That is not his plan. In fact, there are creepy indications that Joe is all into big tech censoring you and me.
Recent weeks and months have taught us a painful lesson. There is truth and there are lies. Lies told for power and for profit. And each of us has a duty and a responsibility as citizens, as Americans, and especially as leaders who have pledged to honor our Constitution and protect our nation, to defend the truth and defeat the lies.
Who's to determine what the truth is? Joe, that is not your job. Excuse me, Mr. President, fair enough. That's not your job, all right? When the government gets involved figuring out who's telling the truth and who's not, that should be illegal. It's bad enough when private industry does it, as they recently did to Donald Trump, kicking him off Twitter. That was a creepy thing to do, especially when we all saw what Donald Trump really said. You guys are trying to say that he incited violence. He didn't.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
They're saying that he incited the riot, and they have canceled him because he said peacefully and patriotically march. Folks, I don't think anybody should be in the censoring business. The government, media, they're still trying. I saw Joe and Mika today. And Joe, by the way, Joe Scarborough, he's just a retired congressman who has a cable show. He is not the minister of truth, but he seems to think that he is.
We have the president starting to speak. We're going to dip into this for as long as the president can manage to tell the truth.
So Joe will decide when he's telling the truth and when he's not. Again, Joe Scarborough, retired congressman, happens to have a cable show, happens to be married to Mika Brzezinski. He should not have that power, okay? And certainly the government shouldn't have that power. And I think they're warming up to it big time. Folks, in 2018, 19, and 20, we've heard a lot of people talk about speaking their truth. Now, when I first heard about that, I didn't quite like it because I think there's the truth and then there's your truth, but there's actually some merit in speaking your truth. Take a look at this.
If I'm just living in my truth and speaking my truth out of love, then that's all I can do.
This was the best way to get my truth out there.
I wanted to share more of my truth in this story.
So much of my work is about speaking authentically, about telling my truth, about telling my story.
You always told me to speak my truth, and so I'm trying to do that every day.
All right, I think it's a little bit corny, but I actually think it's valid. Who am I to say what anybody else's truth is or isn't? That's up to individuals, okay? That's not up to the government, and that's not up to big tech. That's, again, why I was so disappointed in Joe Biden's speech today. He did not call for big tech to get off our backs, and also, I think it was a perfect opportunity for him to call on Congress to say, leave Donald Trump alone. All right, after his speech, there was a lunch, and then the most bizarre and sad inaugural parade you've ever seen through the streets of Washington, D.C. Anything look kind of funny to you? We got bands, we've got people in uniform, our armed forces. Nobody on the sidewalk. Take it full if you will. No one on the sidewalk. A parade that's safe for government leaders, the friends of government leaders, for soldiers, for their hand-picked entertainers, but is somehow not safe for the people, a soulless parade. You know, after September 11th, we all recognized that the government had to increase security everywhere. We didn't want them violating our rights. And for the most part, they didn't. But what happened 2 weeks ago, is that sufficient cause for that level of security that we saw today? I don't know if it is. I'm deeply troubled that they will use that as a pretext to take away our rights. And we have to be very, very vigilant about that. I want to point out something I saw from President Trump actually last night. Very interesting moment. He thanked some people in his farewell address who almost never get acknowledged in presidential farewell addresses.
I also want to take a moment to thank a truly exceptional group of people, the United States Secret Service. My family and I will forever be in your debt. My profound gratitude as well to everyone in the White House Military Office, the teams of Marine One and Air Force One, every member of the armed forces, and state and local law enforcement all across our country.
That was beautiful, and I looked it up. Barack Obama did not acknowledge the Secret Service, Air Force One personnel, or Marine One. Neither did Bill Clinton or George W. Bush in their official farewell addresses. Those are hard jobs, by the way. The Secret Service, oh my gosh, they're running around the country like crazy. Air Force One, Marine One, those guys, very, very tough job. And you know what? It's essentially a blue-collar job. President Trump respects that type of work. Other presidents, too often, I think they look down on those guys in their hearts like they were just the help. President Trump respects people who work. All right, folks, there is this that I'm kind of excited about now that President Trump is out of office. I'm going to probably have access to him, more so than I've had over the past 4 years. He knows who I am. I know who he is. And I got to tell you, there's a good chance I may have lunch or dinner with him in the months ahead. And if that happens, I'll tell you all about it.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.